Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Doctor Who. Today the episode I'm going to be covering is The Girl in the Fireplace. Admittedly very interesting episode, and I'll get into what I think about it overall at the end of this video, but first let's get into my favorite, or what I consider some of the most important parts of this episode. And the first and probably maybe the biggest part of this episode was just the overall relationship between the Doctor and Madame De Pompadour. I apologize if I'm messing up the pronunciation of that, but I honestly am having trouble remembering it. But the essential relationship there, I really liked it. It was... I just liked the way they developed this relationship, which was a relatively mature relationship where it developed into one in a very short time span. I thought they did a really good job with that. Both of the characters played very well off of each other. I admittedly don't know a lot historically about Madame De Pompadour. I realize I should probably read up on her a little bit more, but just as a character within this episode, I really liked her. She was a very strong character. Even as a child, it's like the girl that played her as Reinette, or Reinette, again, I can't remember how to pronounce the name, but it was a very, she was a good child actor, and as she developed into a young woman, I really liked the character and the strength of her character. She was just a very strong presence, and I really liked that. And when the Doctor does the sort of a mind meld, I guess, like almost like a Vulcan mind meld or whatever it is, but it's like I really liked that segment there because she looked into his mind and made a reference to I think not his name, but called him Doctor Who in a questioning manner, as if she like read into him and found out his name, but she didn't want to say it. It was very strange and actually kind of hard for me to comprehend, but I like that entire segment, and again, I just really enjoyed the relationship between the two overall. I thought that was a great and probably the strongest part of this episode overall. And the second best part about this episode, the Clockwork androids. My God, even before we find out what they are, this is the first time where I've been legitimately creeped out and kind of terrified since The Child in the Mask, or the two-parter where they go back to World War II. That was just the mask. The first time you see the mask on this thing, like the 18th century, I guess Victorian, maybe not, but it's like basically the outfit it's wearing and the mask. My God, that thing is terrifying. It's like I'm not personally afraid of clowns, but like all of a sudden you just see this face like right up in your grill, and it's just like ah. That was oof. I just really like that about the characters, and honestly the way that they constructed the basically the way that they plotted out why the robots are doing what they're doing. It was very mysterious, and it comes, it's completely revealed at the end, which is something I'm going to reference here in a little bit, but overall, it's like I really like the designs, the creepiness of the Clockwork androids, just overall really good, great part of the episode. Now, the third best part about this episode, oh no, I turned off my phone. The horse. It's as simple as that. The horse named Arthur. Very small character in this episode, but adorable. He followed the Doctor around like he was a little dog, like my dog Charlie, and I was sad that they actually didn't reference him. It's like the last time you see the horse is when the Doctor and Arthur like crash through the window through time and basically sever the link between the spaceship that Rose and Mickey are on and the 18th century era. And then he just disappears. I don't know if he's referenced elsewhere in the episode, but I was just kind of sad that they didn't reference the horse because he was kind of awesome and I liked him. I don't care if you think that was a minor part. I loved him. And the fourth best part of this episode, It was near the end, the letter from Madame De Pompadour to the Doctor. That letter was just, it was beautiful and so very sad. I mean, for me, I already connected with the Doctor in previous episodes. I've really grown to like the 10th Doctor. But if anyone hadn't up to this point, I really think that might be one of the strongest points, or this episode would be one of the strongest points for someone to really get connected to the Doctor, or get a connection to the Doctor, because there was just so much emotion and sadness that came out throughout this episode, especially at the end when he read the letter and there's the voiceover of Madame De Pompadour reading it and calling him her lonely angel. And it was just so sad and really powerful. I don't know what else to say about it. It was just a great way to end the episode, including the final part that I consider to be one of the best aspects of this episode, and that is the reveal of the name of the spaceship, the SS Madame De Pompadour. And honestly, I guessed that it had something to do, there was something along those lines going on as to why the Clockwork androids were going after Madame De Pompadour back in her time, and why they were trying to get her, or her brain, to try and repair the ship. There had to be some reason why, and something that connected her to the ship. So the fact that right behind the TARDIS as it disappears is this big picture of her, as well as the ship actually being named that, it brought everything together. And I really like that when episodes are able to basically completely encapsulate themselves, even if you think it's cheesy, even if you think it's kind of lame. I thought it was a really good way to end the episode and just bring everything full circle. I really like that, and just a great way to cap off what came right before it, which was the letter. Just overall, a great episode. But before I get into my complete synopsis of the episode, I want to give you my favorite quote of the episode. And the quote of the episode came from Madame De Pompadour when she was talking to Rose. I almost forgot Rose's name for a second there. Awkward. But when they were talking, and Madame De Pompadour says, "One may tolerate a world of demons for the sake of an angel." And I know that there are a lot of big picture things that could be said about that quote, but overall, just when it was said, I just thought that was one of the most beautiful things I've heard. It was one of the most beautiful quotes I've ever heard, and it made me fall in love with that line. And just to, when she later caps it off in the letter by referring to the Doctor as her lonely angel, it just really added upon what I already loved about that quote. It was just great, and yeah, that was my favorite line of the entire episode. Okay, now to get into my overall thoughts about the Girl in the Fireplace. This was a great episode. It was probably one of the most, at least from what I've seen so far, probably in the top 3 most emotional, powerfully emotional episodes that I've seen so far. It was really well done. The woman that played Madame De Pompadour was amazing. The Doctor, as always, did a great job, but just seeing the emotions that he experienced throughout, it was just a great episode. This was definitely one of my favorite episodes of this season by far. I still got most of the season left to go, so hopefully they'll be able to top this one off as well. From what I've been told, the next 2 episodes, which it's going to be a 2-parter coming up, is really good as well. Or I've been told actually that all the 2-parters in this season are great. So definitely looking forward to those. And yeah, I really love this episode. I mean, you know, if you haven't seen the episode yet, first of all, why are you watching this? Second of all, watch the episode. It's just really good and I mean, it unfortunately doesn't really have a happy ending. I will say that. It doesn't have a happy ending, but it's a very good, great episode. Alright everyone, well, thank you very much for watching this episode of Discovering Doctor Who. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think. I'd like to know your thoughts on this episode. I'm sure that there were plenty of other lines in this episode that could have been the quote of the episode, and let me know if there were any that you prefer, like any particular lines that stood out to you while watching this episode. And I also want to say thank you to everyone over at Cult of Awesome, a Facebook group that I'm attached to that is run by my good friend CraiSko, who actually designed part of the intro for the Discovering Doctor Who videos. You rock, man, and everyone over at Cult of Awesome, you all rock as well, or I guess I should call you the Awesomeites. And if you are... just sort of a side note, if you're interested at all in the show Breaking Bad, I also have my secondary show that I post episodes of called Discovering Breaking Bad. And if you'd like to check out any of the episodes, I have 4 episodes up so far. You can get a link to the full playlist right here. Go check those out, and I'd like to hear what you have to say about that show, especially if you're a big fan, or if you haven't gotten into the show yet and feel like doing it, come join along. I'm doing about 1 episode per week, so there's, you know, only 4 episodes in so far. There's plenty of time to catch up. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Everyone, again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time on the next Discovering Doctor Who.